Suicide is the third leading cause of death among people ages 15 to 24. It has been a long struggle, but the perception of mental illness is slowly changing and is being viewed more as a part of total health and wellness. Where two or more are gathered in His name. Ever since I was a child in elementary school, I believed in the power of prayer, and so did my grandmother Ella May. Grandma Alexander had heart disease. As an alternative to going to the hospital all the time, she would sometimes have me lay hands on her heart and pray for her. We believe that where two or three are gathered in Jesus' name, God will be in the midst. Prayer. 75% of lifetime mental health conditions begin by age 24. My faith would be tested when my son became ill, when he was about 17 years old. His behavior, appearance and life goals all begin to dissolve. Rather than becoming an architect, he wanted to be a rapper. The well-groomed young man no longer appeared to be concerned about his appearance, grooming or manners. He became rude and combative. It took a year to get a clinical diagnosis. In the meantime, I prayed for my son's healing and for my protection. I prayed for strength to endure. The day we become silent about things that really matter to us is the day we begin to die inside. Martin Luther King Jr. I spent 15 years pretty much speaking to no one but God regarding this family tragedy. I did not know how to hold a comfortable conversation regarding the matter, and no one else really understood. They had not walked a mile in my shoes. I prayed day and night. I prayed all the time about everything. I prayed for wisdom, knowing when to set boundaries and knowing when to let go and to let God. While emotions and feelings ran the spectrum, my faith remained constant. I prayed for a breakthrough. I prayed for a miracle. I prayed that God would work through those in the field of mental health. From my perspective, hope and faith precede prayer. Hope is recognizing and celebrating the small things and coming out of the dark place in your life. Hope is seeing a light in the midst of darkness. Hope is remembering that you are not alone. On the other hand, faith is the substance of things hoped for, but evidence is not yet seen. I continue to embrace the belief and examples from the Bible that prayer changes things. Sharing hope. When the pastor of my church, A.W. Mays, allowed National Alliance on Mental Illness Austin to make a Sharing Hope presentation during our regularly scheduled Bible study time, my life would be forever changed. For the first time since my son's illness, I was listening to a team of people who got it. They understood what my son and I were going through. They understood the illness and clearly described his symptoms, behaviors and challenges. Truth resonated in my soul and hope soared. I prayed for direction, and I asked the Lord, what can I do to make a difference in my son's life and in the lives of others? You see, I believe we all have a purpose in life, and when God sends us through a test, we should be able to turn it into a testimony in His name, honor and glory. Faith without work is dead. As a result of the Sharing Hope presentation at my church, I began to further educate myself on the subject of mental disorders. First, in a safe environment, I took several research-based training and education classes with individuals who had similar experiences and circumstances. I was no longer suffering in isolation. Second, I became a Sharing Hope presenter in African American communities. In addition, through NAMI, I also contribute to the empowerment of underserved communities by being a family-to-family teacher. This 12-week, results-based class is for family members who have loved ones battling with mental illness. Chronic Mental Illness, A Living Nightmare was published in July 2015. The B family, pseudo-names, wrote the book as part of their reflection and healing process and to help others who may be devastated, lost and suffering in silence. We share our empathy and compassion along with personal experiences and what we learned about the illness, the stigma, and the gaps in the mental health system and community crisis services. I became a member of the NAMI Austin Board of Directors, and finally, I found a giant in me and began to advocate for my son and others like him at the local, state and federal levels. Thank you to all of the prayer warriors who rendered prayers and praise on behalf of my family. There is power in hope and faith, and prayer, along with follow-up, changes things. I am a witness